The conflict in West Asia has intensified dramatically over the past several days, with airstrikes, missile attacks, and regional spillover raising one central question: how long will this war last? So far, leaders have avoided spelling out a firm deadline. US President Donald Trump has said the campaign could last 4 to 5 weeks, while his Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth has rejected the idea of an endless war, even as Washington prepares for a possible escalation.
Well, most of the people we had in mind are dead. So, we had some in mind from that group that is dead. And now we have another group, they may be dead also, based on reports. So I guess you have a third wave coming in. Pretty soon we're not going to know anybody.
Meanwhile, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has described the operation as decisive, yet admitted it may take some time, though not years.
I hear the people are saying, well, you're going to have an endless war here. You're not going to have an endless war. Now, of course, it's up to the people of Iran in the final count to change the government. But we are creating, America and Israel together are creating the conditions for them to do so.
What we are witnessing today is not an isolated conflict. It's merely the latest chapter in a shadow war that has stretched back more than 4 decades. From the 1979 hostage crisis to naval clashes in the Gulf in the 1980s to proxy battles in Iraq after 2003 and the assassination of General Qasem Soleimani in 2020, tensions between Washington and Tehran have repeatedly flared up without ever erupting into an out-and-out war. Periods of restraint, including the 2015 nuclear deal, briefly slowed the cycle, but mistrust, military strikes, and retaliations have kept the confrontation alive. Military campaigns like this typically depend on 3 major factors: objectives, resistance, and regional spillover. First, objectives. The United States and Israel say they want to cripple Iran's missile and naval capabilities, prevent it from acquiring nuclear weapons, and stop support from proxy groups. Those are very ambitious goals. Achieving them through air power alone could take weeks. If ground forces become involved, the timeline could stretch much longer. Second, Iran's response. Tehran has already targeted US bases and Israeli territory and showed that it can disrupt energy routes by blocking the Strait of Hormuz. If Iran escalates the crisis regionally through allied militias, the conflict could widen and persist. Third, international pressure. A blocked oil route, inflation fears, threats to global trade and shipping, and mounting civilian casualties could push diplomatic efforts forward, potentially shortening the war. At this stage, analysts see 3 possible scenarios: a short, intense campaign lasting several weeks, a prolonged air and proxy conflict stretching months, or a wider regional war if escalation continues. The coming days will be critical, especially on the diplomatic front. Whether this confrontation remains contained or evolves into something far bigger may determine not only the length of this war but also the stability of the entire Gulf region.